The First Lady of the United States tends to the Rose Garden. I watched recently some footage of Jackie, let's kind of call her Onassis, Jackie Kennedy, and JFK, and they were arriving by plane somewhere, and she was handed a big bunch of roses. Maybe it was 12, maybe it was more, of red roses specifically. Everybody knows that different flowers have different meanings. Um, and let me ask you this, maybe you won't be expecting this exact question. There's sub rosa as well, which is a sort of Latin term meaning to do things in secret. But I imagine that it's maybe its origins. I could be wrong, but I seem to remember somebody saying it's like in the scenes maybe in that series, which I didn't watch, but everyone always encourages me to watch, about the kings and queens. Do you know the one I'm talking about, where they have a part of the dramatization is where people will go for secret walks in the garden, so they whisper secrets to each other, maybe like under the roses, but I don't know if that's where it comes from. You know the thing I'm talking about. Everybody got very much into this sort of medieval kings and queens thing that was written by
like the
this
British. The British Rose Garden is most certainly part like that. When it sprung up in the Victorian era and a little bit before that, like when these gardens became a thing, all that stuff to do with the Rose Garden most certainly comes from this tradition.
But
This
let me ask
like
you this. Does JFK and his wife, did Jackie Kennedy know what the symbolism is, or like who's doing it? Is it just like whatever is in the ether, or the devil is in the details? Is he putting all these symbols in front of us, or
like
is it just by happenstance? Do you know?
well, the thing is, I'm fairly sure, like, from the things JFK did, he was obviously like one of them. And they use the rose symbolism all the time. When he died, like, Jackie went up and laid a red rose on, like a single red rose. And so many other people do that every year. They'll go up and lay a single red rose there at his memorial flame or whatever. And that's a marker. That's letting you know who is behind it. And, you'll find, just look up JFK and red roses. You'll see like this connection between the roses, the Rose Garden, the American Rose Garden, Home and Garden magazine, and all this, like these WASP women and tending their home rose gardens. Like it's all part of this Eastern Star tradition of tending that rose garden. And, the Eastern Star popped up in the 1930s ish. Kind of thing.
Okay. Oh, only 1938. I wonder if it was 33. But I mean, to really, I really want to drill down into this, right? So when Jackie Kennedy is being presented with these red roses, she's getting off a plane, obviously sometime prior, but I don't know how long it was to her husband's death or assassination. Is he aware that they're being handed roses because they want to send a signal? Or is it just, well, it's something nice that somebody gonna goes, well, here's a bunch of roses for a lovely lady. Are they, and here's again my really specific question, and I know it's a tangent, but like, was JFK and Jackie Kennedy, were they both aware that they're just actors on a stage, or
Yeah.
were they people, or what is it like? Do they see themselves as just part of a grand tapestry and not really human beings or people, or is there the same kind of conflict in everybody, or to what extent were they aware that they're playing personae for the consumption of all of the audience around the world?
Well, I mean, to some degree, he was absolutely aware, but like at the same time, there's always going to be, unless you're at the very top of the pyramid, there's always going to be something that you don't see. And obviously, like what he saw that they were trying to do upset him enough to where he came after the CIA, and that was a mistake, right? He didn't know that they were going to turn on him. That's what gets you. Like by the time you realize they're going to turn on you, it's too late. They're already going to come after you, right? Like you will think that you have control of things, and that you know what's going on, but you don't. Yeah, he was a willing participant up to a certain point until he wasn't, and then they were ready to get rid of him. Not to mention the fact that it could have been planned to do that to him all along with the king kill ritual. It's like, they do these kind of things. They know that like they need juice to get this certain thing done. They will do a spell in order to gain that power, right? Like that's how these people function. So, he could have been kept in the dark like a hog being fattened for the slaughter, Very much so. Or he could have been aware that he was going to sacrifice himself for it. Who knows?